Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio, Michael Bullock. We are awaiting Dee Dee Whitson. Hopefully, she'll be on the show tonight. If she is, then excellent, and we will get her thoughts. If not, then it's understandable. It's okay. We not the end of the world. We'll just continue on. As always, we're only going to be doing Smackdown Live tonight. I don't believe this is a pay-per-view weekend. I don't think this is a go home show. I think it's next week or the week after. But I think it's
next
in
week.
a couple. It is next week. All right. So next week will be the preview for our for Fastlane as we get ready. Actually, there is Anthony, do you want to get into the TNA tonight? Because I know there is a show this weekend. Do you want to get into it? Because I know there is a significant fight.
Yeah. If you want to do like a quick final resolution sacrifice, I think it's called. Yeah, we could do a preview if you want.
Sacrifice? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
well,
if
we
you
might
want
try to go full speed. All right. Okay. I think that's a good idea. We might get into sacrifice, and actually, great timing, Dee Dee Whitson. You just came in. We didn't really get into anything. We just were about to set up for the what's about to happen. So here we go, guys. So we're gonna start it off with a promo segment. I believe this was Edge interrupted by Daniel Bryan, and these two men were going back and forth. I mean, look, I can already see it now. It looks like Daniel Bryan and Edge looks like they're on a collision course, guys. Now the question remains: is it going to be a triple threat going into WrestleMania? Is it a one-on-one where if Daniel wins the belt, does Edge fight Daniel at that point? Or will it be in a situation where after WrestleMania is over, the Tribal Chief has successfully defended the title, and then maybe Edge and Daniel might be the first rivalry post-WrestleMania? So there's a number of scenarios how this goes, but I can tell you one thing for sure. Daniel Bryan versus Edge, one-on-one, shut up and take my money is what I say. I think we all will shut up and give the money to the Peacock Network to see these two get it on. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you, MF. This was a great promo by Edge here. Cut a good one here. And I think we are on the verge of a triple threat here. I would not be surprised if that ends up being what we get for Mania. I mean, especially with the spoiler that came out at the end here. Well, we're not going to give that spoiler away, obviously, until we get to it. But for right now, all signs are pointing to a Roman Edge Bryan triple threat match for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania, and we'll have to wait and see on that. But then again, Jey Uso. I mean, you got to imagine he's got to be a factor in this somehow. But nonetheless, Edge always cuts a great promo here. Maybe not as intense like Bullock and I always like him. You know how much Bullock and I love the angry Edge. I mean, Bullock and I always say angry Edge is the best Edge, and solid way to start. I mean, Edge and Bryan, that's a dream matchup. I mean, that really is. I mean, that's a match that we would all love to see. And yeah, that's definitely a shut up and take my money moment, MF. You're absolutely right. And I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But for right now, great way to start. Great promo by Edge as always. And and Bryan coming in. I mean, the interaction there. I mean, it was there. I felt it. So good way to start the show. Solid way to start. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in, Phenom, and let's get your thoughts on all this.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I think this is definitely a good promo, and yeah, I think, like you said, this is definitely planting the seeds for a triple threat for the WWE. I mean, for the Universal Championship at Mania. I mean, and yeah, we'll definitely get into what happened later on in the night, which could further show that this definitely could go down. I mean, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. So yeah, I mean, this was a great promo. So Dee Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, this was a really good promo. This is a good way to start off SmackDown. And, you know, as we all know, SmackDown is notorious for storyline building, and this was a great way to start off the show with a good storyline build for not just Fastlane, but for WrestleMania as well. So, yeah, I don't have anything else to add. Awesome start. So it's yours, Fletch.
All right, and to start off the in-ring action, 8-man tag team fight. The Mysterios, Rey and Dominic, and the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. They went up against Chad Gable, Otis, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. When it was all said and done, the face team won the match in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Yeah, great way to start the in-ring action here. 3 to 3.5 stars is my rating for this match. Everybody played their parts great. They hyped the crowd a lot, which I liked. Especially in the Thunderdome, they were eating this up. I was eating it up, and one bit of irony here that I want to address here. Did you guys notice something interesting on that heel team, especially? For the first, I mean, who would have thunk? Well, I mean, as the old saying goes, what a difference a year makes, right? I mean, what a difference. I mean, because we had Otis on the same team as Dolph Ziggler. Think about it.
Yeah.
1 year ago. Who would have thought we'd see that?
Absolutely. I mean, very valid point.
1 year ago, Otis and Dolph Ziggler were damn near fighting each other to the death for the affection of Mandy Rose, and leading into that match at last year's WrestleMania 36. And I mean, the minute I saw that, it hit me. I'm like, whoa! Who would have thunk? 1 year ago, they were beating each other senseless for the affections of the Golden Goddess Mandy Rose. And here they are 1 year later. Oh yeah. And then you have Otis and Ziggler on the same team. I mean, whoa. None of us saw that coming. I mean, 1 year later, these two heels and on the same team, even if it's only a one-off thing. Wow. But nonetheless, I got to give this about, like I said, 3 to 3.5 for the effort here. Everyone worked hard in this match to make it work, though it was still far too clear that WWE needs to do more to establish the characters of the talent involved. This is particularly important for Chad Gable and Otis. The Alpha Academy has given Otis direction, but it's unclear who he is as a heel. The Street Profits have been kept away from Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler for 2 months, which is long enough to set up one last match between the teams. Holding off any longer will not work. The two teams have fought too many times for it to work as the WrestleMania angle. And all I know is this, guys. I mean, another thing to address. Championship committee moment. Montez Ford pinning Roode to win the match. So you know what that means. It's our favorite. It's a Wrestling Forum favorite. Championship committee moment. We got one here, folks. So I don't think it's going to be Mania. I think it's going to be Fastlane. I think we'll see Rude and Ziggler against the Street Profits for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So so that's all I can say on this. I'm gonna lower the rating just a smidge, 3 to 3.25. I think that's the correct rating for this. One of the fights of the night for sure. I'm on the unique setup here. I'm going to step out very briefly and come back in as my usual avatar. So with that being said, Bullock, it's all yours. 3 to 3.25 stars. And Otis and Ziggler on the same team. I still can't get over that. Wow.
You can't get over it. I can't get over it either. I mean, yeah. I mean, a year ago, these two were really they were tearing each other apart, especially with the whole Mandy Rose situation. And now here we are a year later, and these two are on the same team. I mean, and like I said, imagine what Mandy Rose is probably thinking right now. I mean, watching that, and she's probably like, "Are you kidding me? I mean, this is not the same Otis that I knew." So, yeah, 3 to 3.25 stars is my rating. A solid match here. I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more to add to it. So, Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, I can agree with everything you guys said. So I'm not going to add anything else. It's yours, Fletch.
About 3.25 stars. I'm definitely on that realm. And yeah, this was shocking to say the very least, because of the fact that, yeah, you guys have made a very valid point. This was a major storyline heading into last year's WrestleMania between Dolph Ziggler and Otis. And yeah, it did revolve around Mandy Rose. Remember, Otis was smitten with Mandy, and Mandy kind of didn't give him the light of day. Then, I want to say right around December, it started to turn a little bit, and slowly but surely, everything was turning. Everything was starting to turn for Otis's favor. Got the date with her. It was going to be on Valentine's Day, and then disaster. Otis was waiting for Mandy. Mandy was at the restaurant waiting. Ziggler shows up, and kaboom went the dynamite. Basically, everything blows up in Otis's face. He goes home brokenhearted. Then it looks like Ziggler and Mandy are together. But as you notice, the SmackDown hacker showed up, who I think we all know, nod, nod, wink, wink, it was Mustafa Ali, who was the hacker. But he dropped a nuke on everybody. Sonya Deville, back in the about a year ago, they were partners. Mandy and Sonya were Fire and Desire, and basically the fire scorched the Desire on this one, where she knew that maybe Mandy was starting to feel Otis. Sonya's like, I don't want that to happen because A, that could jeopardize my partnership with Mandy. B, Otis is not a good looking guy. What is she thinking seeing in this guy? So she tried to take things into her own hands, blow Otis's date up by pushing Ziggler into the mix. Everything was going great until the week before WrestleMania. That's when we found out about everything. Everything came out at that moment, and we saw the implosion and the explosion at WrestleMania, where yes, Otis got the girl at the end, and then it had me crying foul because we were under all this COVID thing, and there was a kiss that happened right before our very eyes, and I remember Dee Woodson was laughing hysterically because I was raging. saying, like, what are you two doing? Keep 6 feet apart, you knuckleheads. What are you doing? So I had to kind of go MF heel a la Monday Night Raw at that moment. While Michael Bullock and Dee Woodson were having a hysterical laughing fest that night. But, that was to each his own. But yeah, like you said, what a difference a year makes, man. Crazy. But also one thing that can't get lost in the shuffle, championship committee moment. You guys nailed it. Montez Ford gets the win. That should guarantee him one more shot at the tag team titles. All I'm going to say is throw up your blue cups tonight and take a drink of your favorite beverage. For me, Coca-Cola, and down it tonight, man, because Street Profits gets a big win here tonight. All right, so next up we got was Cesaro going up against Murphy one-on-one. Cesaro won the match via disqualification because Seth Rollins jumped in and jumped Cesaro. Let's just say Seth was not happy that he got Cesaro swung a couple of weeks ago, and boy, did he get jumped. Beat down time. But there was a man who made the save for it, Shinsuke Nakamura. So it looks like Rollins and Nakamura? Oh my God, Smackdown. Oh man. Mike Bullock. I know we're not going to talk about the match because there's not really much to talk about that fight, but the possibility of Nakamura versus Seth Rollins? Oh man.
Sign me up for that. Yeah, that would be interesting if that happens. I mean, you get Seth Rollins and Nakamura. Ooh, that would be something to definitely keep an eye on. I mean, yeah, the match, like you said, obviously was short, so I'm not even gonna bother talking about it even more. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. D.D. Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, it's an interesting development, Nakamura and Seth Rollins. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. The match stunk. But yeah, you can see that, I guess, the friendship with Cesaro and Nakamura is still there. So, yeah, it's yours, Fletch.
The match did stink. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to repackage Murphy. They're trying to repackage Murphy as a heel. As you notice, in social media this week, how he absolutely blitzed on the Mysterios, basically calling Aaliyah an opportunist, that all she wants to do is become an actress, and that she wasn't really caring much about the relationship that she was in with them. How Ray is past his prime now, and basically, Father Time is catching up with them, and why is he still in wrestling? And how Dominic is wet behind the ears and the whole 9 yards. Like, he went off on the Mysterio family and basically threw them all under the bus. And how he needs to be, how he needs to get back to what he was and everything else. That he's a former cruiserweight champion of the world. True. Not going to deny. And was a pretty good cruiserweight champion. Anthony Flair can contest to that. Here's the thing. You know what? I'm going to say this. I think what they should do, and I honestly believe this, I think it's time that Wesley Blake and Buddy Murphy reunite. Get them back on SmackDown. Give us Blake and Murphy, a la the days of NXT. Give us them. Let them run in that tag team division, and you got yourself some legitimate threats in the tag team division on SmackDown Live immediately. Look, the Forgotten Sons is literally forgotten. Nobody knows them anymore, and it was because of comments that was made by Jackson Riker that got them in trouble and buried them. Blake hasn't done anything since. Murphy needs an identity. I think it's time that you reunite Blake and Murphy, a la the days of NXT, bring them to SmackDown, let them work together, put them back in the tag team division, and let the chips fall where they may. Florio, it's yours.
Yes, little off the subject, but yes, MF, you're right. Buddy Murphy was indeed a very good cruiserweight champion. You remember he took the title from Cedric Alexander in his home country of Australia. I mean, they went into a mass hysteria when he won the title on that night. I remember that very vividly at that Super Showdown event. And I believe he held it all the way up until WrestleMania 35. I believe he dropped it to Tony Nese, as I recall. So, yes, he had a very good run as the cruiserweight champion of the world. But getting into all this, it is a shame that Murphy was sacrificed to Cesaro again, but he got in a few nice moves first. He is far too talented for this, and it unfortunately feels like he will need to go back to helping Seth Rollins to get any kind of attention. The positive was that Cesaro remains dominant, and Shinsuke Nakamura looks to still be working with his former partner in some capacity. As both are faces, they can be friends by WWE standards, and that can lead to some great matches on the road to WrestleMania. Rollins versus Cesaro has been built as a huge match for the grandest stage of them all. However, to save it for that moment, we could get Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, possibly at Fastlane. Now, let's remember, we've seen this match once before. 2018 Survivor Series, Staples Center, Los Angeles. Seth Rollins was the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion representing Monday Night Raw. Shinsuke Nakamura was the United States Heavyweight Champion representing then known as SmackDown Live. And it was Seth Rollins who came away with the win that night. And a part of the most dominant victory in Raw versus SmackDown history. One that I'll never forget for as long as I live, but story for another day. But, you know, but anyways, folks, when we saw that match at the 18 Survivor Series, that was about a 4-star or so match. So those guys could give us 4 easily. But then again, they could give us even more if all goes well. And to SmackDown management, I just want to say one thing. If you're going to give us a Murphy and Cesaro match, let these two go and give them some time. You let these two have time and let them go, you got instant classic and show stealer potential. You do. That's another 4 to 5 easy if you let them go. So, but it's obviously it's going to be an NA for the match, but MF, I think it's looking like Rollins and Cesaro for WrestleMania. I think we could get Rollins and Nakamura at Fastlane, and if it's anything like their Survivor Series 2018 match, we're in for something just as special. Who knows?
Oh dear Lord! Oh my God! Please let that happen. Please, WWE, for the love of God, just give the fans what they want. And I know they would love to see Nakamura and Rollins. I mean, that would be absolutely crazy.
Great match at Survivor Series 2018. This one, if they do it here, could be even better.
It could. We could see. We shall see. All right. So next up was the KO show tonight. Their guest was Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, as they were, I guess you could say, hyping up their lead into WrestleMania, but then there was an interruption. Monday Night Raw had an interruption, as it was Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Boy, Reginald, but brand new suit, man. He was looking sharp. But that's a side note because there was a match as it was Tamina and Natalya going up against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair in tag team action, and the winners of the bout in 3 minutes and 35 seconds. And I'll openly admit this, in somewhat of an upset, Tamina and Natalya wins the match. Tamina rolling up the Royal Rumble winner, Bianca Belair. Didi Woodson. Oh my goodness. I mean, big win for Tamina.
Why does this cat hate me? Where did he go?
Yeah. And, of course,
Where'd he go?
under the sofa.
Of course he
Okay. Now we got that solved. All right. Of course, you have Bianca Belair that's saying that, it's all Sasha Banks and Reginald's fault that, she got rolled up and pinned and all that stuff. And, of course, Nia is the one who brought him back into this mix because she's trying to break them up using Reginald. So basically, she's using this guy for her own advantage. And of course, Shayna, she's sitting here, I'm sick and tired of these two. I want to focus on what I need to focus on and not focus on them. And, it's just a big storyline mess, basically. As far as, how this is going to play out, I have no earthly idea. Right now, it doesn't really seem like either team is on the same page. So, but the match itself, other than the distractions, it was fairly good. I don't care too much for the distractions. I thought that was a little bit overboard. I'm going to probably give it about 3.5 stars. I mean, there's a lot of action here. They did, a lot of great things. It's just that ending because of, Nia telling Reginald to go distract the referee and to get involved. You don't need that in a match. I don't care if you're a heel, a face, or what. You don't need that. I mean, if the match is going great, you don't need to throw in something like this. But I know it's all storyline driven, so we still don't know exactly where Reginald lies with Sasha Banks. As far as he knows, Nia legitimately cares about him, but you can tell she's doing this all for self, to get her team the big win. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. KO show, fine. I think it did what it needed to do. As far as leading into this, yeah, the match is probably not that much to talk about. It's kind of left in the dust, and the whole thing is that a lot of people are wondering what's the angle here. Obviously, at Fastlane, we will have a SmackDown Women's title fight, as it will be Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler putting the titles on the line against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. But if you're Bianca Belair, you're steaming tonight. You just took an embarrassing defeat, one of the biggest losses of your career. Congratulations, Tamina. Hey, props to you, sweetheart, because you just benefited getting one of the biggest wins of your career here tonight. And that's something that we can't just gloss over. I know a lot of people will, but hey, if Tamina wins the match, give it up. I'm not going to be here and say, oh, this or that. No. for me, Tamina deserves the moment. She's been in the company for a little while. She's busted her butt and has worked hard. You know, she's had injuries here and there. Tonight she got a golden moment. She just beat the winner of the 2021 Royal Rumble. So that's a big deal for me. Huge deal for Tamina. Now, as far as it goes, you can tell there's definitely problems on both sides. Shayna Baszler doesn't really care much about Reginald. She doesn't. Nia is all in on it. And, of course, he's using the tactic about his love for Sasha because he's definitely smitten with Sasha. Sasha wants no part of him. But if he continues to badger Sasha, that is going to cause major problems with her and with Sasha and Bianca. That's going to add more fuel to the fire to the fight at WrestleMania. So there's a number of angles going around right now. It's unfortunately Reginald is in the center of it. And like Dee Woodson has said, Lord knows how this plays out at Fastlane. So, Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Nia Jax and Reginald are the new Carmella and James Ellsworth. That's all there is to say on that.
Agreed.
Yep. But I think they're even worse. That's all I can say. They deserve each other. That's all I can say. They deserve each other, no doubt. As a whole, this segment worked for the story unfolding. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair have been friendly for a while, but there needed to be more conflict for the WrestleMania bout. While Reginald should not be involved whatsoever, he is a minor inconvenience that I hope will be forgotten in the long term. What may leave a more lasting impact was Tamina pinning Belair. The EST has been so protected lately, even with the many circumstances around it. It is hard to justify that result. The only way to make it work is if Natalya and Tamina are legitimately added to the women's tag team title match at Fastlane. The two veterans have done so much for WWE for so long. It might be a rare opportunity to reward their work by letting them add a fresh element to a familiar match. So that's all I can say on that. And Kevin Owens made a great point, because if Sasha and Bianca win the titles at Fastlane, and I don't know why, but my gut is telling me they just might. And if they do, we could have a John Cena, Shawn Michaels situation. Because remember, John Cena and Shawn Michaels, when they main evented WrestleMania 23 at Ford Field in Detroit, they battled for the WWE Championship. But at the same time, they were the co-holders of the World Tag Team Championship. MF, I don't need to remind you of that because that was back in our Raw days. But nonetheless, maybe we could have a recreation of that. You never know. So, but we'll get more into that next week when we do our Fastlane preview. But for right now, solid segment here. Reginald, go away. That's all I can say on that. You've got that X-Pac Wrestling Forum beyond the point of go away heat, especially with myself and Michael Bullock. So that's all I can say on that. So Bullock, very interesting developments here. The match was 2 stars at best, but man, give it up for Tamina. It looks like we might have had ourselves yet another championship committee moment somewhat.
Yeah, you can definitely say that. And yeah, with this whole thing with Nia Jax and Reginald, I mean, especially Reginald, oof, it's beyond the point of go away. I mean, I just wish Reginald would go away and nobody would even remember him for his little run with WWE. So yeah, definitely some interesting developments. I'll give it 2 stars just because, I mean, it was an upset, obviously, with the Tamina getting a win here, and yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to add to it. And like I said, Reginald, just go away, man. Flesh is yours.
All right. Next up we had was Biggie cutting a promo that was interrupted. Biggie was coming out, so he was talking about everything that happened and actually talked about what happened with the Apollo Crews thing. Then after that, it actually led to a match, an Intercontinental title fight, as it was Biggie versus Sami Zayn. Biggie successfully defends the title in 8 minutes and 15 seconds. I actually don't have a problem with this. This was a very good match. This was a solid fight, and I'm happy. But at the end of it, Apollo Crews once again jumps Big E and beats him down. And I'm going to say this. This is getting serious, guys. I'm going to say it, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I got to say it. For the first time in a long time, I think WWE is finally putting some kind of vestige to the Intercontinental title, because now it looks like we have an Intercontinental title program that they finally looks like they're putting effort, emphasis, and I feel like the title means something right now. And that's something I have not said in a very long time. Biggie versus Apollo Crews. It looks like it's WrestleMania bound. And if it is, if they keep going the way they are, I'm going to openly admit it, this could be one of the better IC title fights at a WrestleMania for a very long time. And there hasn't been that many matches at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title that has really gotten to a level of, man, this is going to be a great match. But Crews versus Big E is starting to get there. And I'm feeling it, Florio. I feel like we've been talking about for years of a moment where the Intercontinental title seems relevant, and we haven't had it. I think it's starting to turn that way. I think the belt is about to become relevant because I think we have now a very serious Intercontinental title program.
Indeed, we do. I mean, when it comes to great Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship matches in the history of WrestleMania, only three stand out. Obviously, the one that stands out the most, Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, completely overshadowing Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. We all agree on that. They stole the damn show that night. And, of course, the other one that really stands out, obviously, the infamous ladder match at WrestleMania 10 at Madison Square Garden. Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels for the 2 Intercontinental belts that were hanging up. We all remember the epicness that was that match. And for many years, we hadn't really had we went a very long time without that wow Intercontinental Heavyweight title match. And we finally got it at WrestleMania 34 when Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz put forth an amazing triple threat match to jumpstart that event. So, and as great as that WrestleMania triple threat was, MF, the two that obviously stand out, Savage and Steamboat from 3 and the Razor Shawn ladder match from 10. Those were the 2 greatest IC title matches in the history of WrestleMania. Both 5-star classics. Both you have to go out of your way to see if you haven't already. So, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, getting to this, this was a perfect segment from the moment Big E spoke up. He cut one of the best promos of his career on Apollo Crews, calling him out for unlocking a dark side in the champion. It set the stage once more for how special this rivalry can be. The match that followed was really good work from 2 great performers. While the master strategist has been treated as a joke outside the ring, that being lame duck man Sami Zayn, he is always allowed to bring it in the ring. He made the motivated champion look unstoppable, especially when motivated. Solid 3 stars for that match. And finally, Apollo Crews once more kept his momentum going. The heel has had the upper hand on E for weeks. He needed to stay dominant, and he and E can fight at any time, and it'll be their best match to date. For me, I think you should save it for WrestleMania, but then again, we have Fastlane here, this pointless pay-per-view, but, you know, how do they get there? Do they just have Biggie issue an open challenge and maybe he wins and then Apollo jumps him again? I don't know. We'll see. But you got to save it for WrestleMania. But I got a bad feeling that they're gonna give this away at Fastlane. They'll probably end in some screwy finish, and then it'll set up something for Mania down the road. So, but don't worry. If we get these two the way they are right now at Mania, it could be the best IC title match since that triple threat from 34. And so that's all I can say on that. So does it have potential to be Savage, Steamboat, Razor, Shawn great? Remains to be seen. But if these two can keep bringing the fire and intensity that they've been bringing over the last few weeks or so, maybe. I'm not holding my breath, but maybe. So we'll see. We haven't had many IC title matches, standouts in Mania history except for those two. So not much more to say. 3 stars for the match. Great promo from Biggie. Maybe the best I've ever heard. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, I mean, we've always known Big E to be that big, lovable teddy bear kind of guy and especially with that New Day shtick that we love so much, especially during our chats and during Raw and SmackDown time. But Bullock, there is a time for Big E to have fun, but there's also a time for him to be serious. And tonight, I think it was the most serious we've ever seen him. No funny ha-ha tonight.
Yeah, they're definitely. I think Apollo Crews awoke something in Biggie that we haven't seen in a long time from him, and yeah, I think Apollo Crews unlocked the dark side in Big E, and all I can say to you, Apollo, is there's an old saying: "Careful what you wish for, because you just might get it." You got it. You got this side of Big E. But now the problem for you, Apollo, is that you need to back it up. And like I said, I think they need to save these two for Mania. And you get these two at Mania, especially with the way it's been building right now, I think we could be in for something really good here. But we'll have to wait and see. As far as the match goes, 3 stars for me. Nothing else to say. DD Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I can give it 3 stars. You guys pretty much touched on all of it, so it's yours, Fletch.
Leads us into the main event moment of the night, which was the contract signing for the WWE Universal title, as it was Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. It was interrupted by Edge, as Edge drops a nuke on everybody. Basically, he challenges Jey Uso to a match one-on-one at Fastlane, but here's the kicker. The winner of that match will become the special enforcer for the WWE Universal title fight. So, okay, here's the real dilemma here. Because of the fact that if you're Roman Reigns, you're thinking, great, Jey goes over, I get my wingman, and I get another easy victory over Daniel Bryan. However, if Edge becomes the special enforcer, now we have a real wild card, because he could go either way. Now, maybe he goes after Daniel to prevent maybe a triple threat, maybe to keep his main event intact, or does he just let it go, see how this plays out, one thing for sure, if Edge gets the spot, Anthony Florio, that becomes very interesting. Edge, the ultimate opportunist, is going to be the ultimate wild card on who gets to go to WrestleMania as the Universal Champion. Oh my goodness.
Amazing. This was shorter than expected, but that is not a bad thing. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns did so much with just a few words. The way the leader of the Yes Movement rattled the head of the table was incredible. It showed how good both are selling a rivalry. Just like earlier in the night, the Rated R Superstar felt like the weak element of this segment. This segment could have been even better if Reigns lost it on Uso, as promised earlier in the night. Instead, we got a generic announcement for next week and a brawl. So, the ramifications of next week's bout is definitely going to be well significant as to who's going to walk out of Fastlane as the Universal Champion. So continuing developments here. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, what do we always say about contract signings? And boy, was it ever true tonight.
Yeah, it did not end well. It did not end well at all. And yeah, I mean, you talk about a wild card here. I mean, Edge and Jey Uso, and whoever wins gets to be the special enforcer. I mean, yeah, I mean, if Jey Uso wins, then yeah, you know he's going to side with Roman. But if Edge wins, then yeah, he's going to be a definite wild card because everybody's going to be wondering, is he going to try to go after Daniel Bryan so that way there is no triple threat? Or does he go after Roman? Who knows? But anywho, I mean, this was definitely a crazy way to close out the show. So nothing more to say. Dee Whitson, it is yours.
Yeah, this was a good way to close out SmackDown. And yeah, we have a very interesting development that came out of this. And, earlier in the night, it was only Paul Heyman standing outside that door telling Jay, he's mad, don't go in there, find something else. But who's to say that Paul isn't playing a mind game? Let's go into something completely different here and say Paul Heyman's the one playing the mind game and trying to now draw a wedge between Roman and his family. That's a possibility. Not saying it's happening, but it just kind of seems weird that, he purposely tried to keep Jey Uso out of there. And then when they come out for the contract signing, everybody acts like everything's fine, that, nothing happened. So, I just find it a little bizarre that that's how it turned out, but, it is what it is. This is a good setup for, both Fastlane and WrestleMania. We still have questions on how the WrestleMania match is going to go, but, we'll find out next week exactly what the plan is, when this match goes down. And, if Edge wins, you have a wild card that we have no idea which way he's going to go. If Jey wins, we know it's all going to lean towards Roman Reigns. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So, yeah, the very good segment to close out the show. So it's yours, Fletch.
It is time for the overall reviews. And Anthony Florio, you get to lead off. We've been pretty hard on SmackDown for the last few weeks, no doubt about it.
Not tonight.
But tonight, I think they finally have righted the ship.
They certainly have righted the ship, MF. Absolutely. I got to give this about. I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is the correct rating for this edition of Friday Night SmackDown this evening. It was an odd episode to figure out. It felt kind of breezy, but it's also because almost nothing of consequence happened. Bryan getting under Roman's skin was a nice wrinkle. Roman sold it quite well. Plus, we've got some interplay between Bryan and Edge added to the mixture as well going forward. Outside of that, though, this was a very sparse show. The 8-man tag, was a paint by numbers, cookie cutter style match. The women's division has turned into the Reginald show for some odd reasons I don't understand. And Biggie and Apollo played off of each other well. And, a lot of good things came out of this show here tonight. So I will give this a solid 7 out of 10. So good show here tonight. And not the best, but not the worst either. So a couple of solid matches. 8-man tag. 8-man tag was good. Biggie and Sami was good, even though we can't stand Sami. He can still bring it in the ring, though. And then some good segments to set up WrestleMania. Bullock, theme of the night tonight, storyline progression. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, this was definitely the theme of the night, storyline for progression. So, 7 out of 10 for me as well. I mean, so there's really nothing more to add to it. So I'm just going to give it to D. Woodson.
Yeah, definitely 7 out of 10. This is what SmackDown's notorious for is the storyline progression, is building these matches in a way to where they draw your interest. And so, this was definitely a good SmackDown. Let's just hope that the go home shows is equal or better than what we got tonight, because this is your last chance to build this pay-per-view. And so SmackDown has pretty much kind of done that. They've built their half of it, but I haven't really seen much in the Raw side on building for Fastlane. So let's see what comes out of this next week, and hope and pray that SmackDown stays on the train track that it's on and doesn't derail again and go down the track to where the ratings go down and we end up starting to poo-poo on things again. So not much more I'm going to add. See you guys Monday. Good night.
Good night, Dee Dee. Yes, 7 out of 10 for me as well. Finally, SmackDown shines, and the land of opportunity, the blue brand, it rises to the occasion. Good week for SmackDown. Definitely something to garner. It wasn't perfect. I will openly admit that, but at least we're on the right path. We're on the right journey. So that's it, guys. We're done for tonight. Special event on Sunday night. Guys, for the first time ever, live at 6 p.m., we will be covering the NCAA Division I Selection Special. We will have exclusively right here on the show the exclusive announcements of the 68-team field. We will break it down. We will announce them as it happens. Anthony Floyd will be doing the announcing. And during the commercial breaks, we'll give you our thoughts on each particular bracket. And once all 68 brackets, once this bracket has been fully developed, we will dive in, give you our thoughts, our predictions, and who we think is going to win it all. It's going to be a very, very long night. Probably not that long, maybe 2 hours, because we're thinking an hour on the selection, an hour to dive into the bracket. So, this could be about a 2-hour show, folks. So, whatever the case may be, get ready. We're going to do it. It's going to be awesome. We will see you guys on Sunday night, 6 p.m. Ridiculously Raw right after that on Monday. There is going to be a programming note. Unfortunately, due to work commitments beyond my control, I will not be able to do Strictly Sports on Friday. On Thursday night. So Anthony and Mike, you're on your own on this one. It looks like it's going to be more NFL news. However, because the bracket hasn't really begun, I think what you guys should do is at least, recap the first 4, and then maybe give your thoughts on why you predicted the way you predicted for the first round of the NCAA tournament. I think that's the best way to do it. And then if there's any other news in the week, we'll cover it then. So, all right, guys. So thank you so much for watching. For Anthony Floyer, for Michael Bullock, for Dee Woodson, I'm Michael Fletcher. You know the routine, everybody. Hugs and hand pounds. We're out. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you guys on Sunday night for the NCAA Selection Special. Good night, everybody.